What's going on, YouTube? Fins here from Team Gids, and I'm here today with a very special video. I'm here today with my first real-life deck profile of my Worms deck that is finally complete. I'm still looking for the last, I think, the last 5 cards that I need for my extra deck, but besides that, deck's done, deck's playable, and the deck is very good. It's just very overwhelming. A lot of people play like a Worm Chaos kind of variant. But I like playing more of a control build, an XYZ level 4 toolbox, if you will. It's just a crazy, crazy, crazy consistent deck. It's just very nasty. It's very overwhelming for your opponent when they're playing it. You're just bumping out these crazy XYZ plays constantly. It's just such a cool deck. So without further ado, here's the deck list. First off, you got to run your 2 rabbits. We don't have to run the rabbit lineup, but I think it's a lot more consistent with the 2 rabbit and 3 of these guys, 3 alien shock trooper. It just helps you get to King of the Feral Imps a lot easier, a lot quicker. It gets things rolling so much quicker. If you open up with rabbit, then you could do a lot of really nasty stuff. For the worm lineup, which is fairly consistent, and I should say fairly standard, we got the 3 Zeks, and as always, with 3 worm Zeks comes 3 worm Yagin. It's one of the most basic of all the worm combos, but it's still one of the better ones. They combo both very well with W Nebula Meteorite, and it's just a great, just a very good plus. You know, Worm Yagin gets dumped by Worm Zex, and then Worm Yagin gets special summoned if Worm Zex is the only worm on the field. Next up, I'm only playing 2 Kartaros. I used to run 3, but the fact of the matter is you don't really need 3 anymore with King of the Feral Imps. I think 2 is just perfect. King of the Feral Imps is also better because he searches for just about anything you need in the deck. Worm Kartaros, you end up running out of targets by turn 2. The way that the speed of this deck, it's not worth it. Kartaros is still a great card. If you don't open up with any of your worms, you're going to want to set him and get your Zex to your hand so you can get things rolling, but you don't need 3 anymore. I also play 2 Worm Tentacles. I don't always use him. Sometimes I side him out, but the fact of the matter is sometimes you just want to use his effect. His effect is great. You can do a lot of damage. You can get in for 1,700 twice. If your opponent has an open field, it's a great move. Sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't. Or if anything, I'll just use him to tribute 4 Worm King. I think you got to play 2 Worm King. 1 is just not enough because you're playing 3 W Nebula Meteorite, and 3 is horrible because you're going to end up drawing it so much. And 3, you don't want to draw Worm King. So 2 is just the perfect number. That's it for the actual worm lineup, and for the rounding up the monster lineup, we have a couple of interesting tech choices that I've been trying out. One of them is Evil Dragon Ananta. I think this guy is awesome. To an extent, he's like the real boss monster of the deck. He just gives you so many different options. It's so funny getting this guy out because you're gonna remove all your you basically remove all your reptiles from play from your graveyard and you gain 600 attack for each. So basically, with the speed of this deck, every time you get him out, he's gonna have like 4,800 attack, 4,900 attack. However much it is, and at the end of each end phase, he gets to destroy a card on the field, which excuse me, which does suck when he's got to blow himself up, but I've never had that problem since I started playing the deck. I'm playing 2 Kage to Kage. I tried 3. I do side out a 3rd one, but I just think that 2 is a little bit more consistent because you can't normal summon Kage to Kage, which sometimes sucks if you open up with him and a Worm King. However, Kage to Kage combos amazingly with Rescue Rabbit, and it lets you go into Shock Master plays, which are always fantastic. And the final monster, just because of all the lights that you play, which is almost every monster there, is Honest. Basically, besides Kage to Kage, everything that you're running is light, so it's too good not to run. For the spells, 2 Pot of Duality. You do special summon a lot in this deck, and sometimes it really does hurt. But the fact of the matter is that you need to get to W Nebula Meteorite as fast as possible, and sometimes you just need that one little defense card or something along those lines, or Pot of Avarice. That really helps things out. So Pot of Duality is still a great card in the deck. Next up is Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice is one of the most important cards in the deck. Worms are a great deck, and King of the Feral Imps has helped out so much, but it's made the deck so friggin' fast. Pot of Avarice really helps refuel everything you need back into your deck, especially with the Rabbit engine, because once you go off with one Rabbit, that other Rabbit is automatically dead. You're going to need your Pot of Avarice to really get it back. I know this format isn't about back row, but I'm still playing 2 MSTs and Heavy Storm. Sometimes I'm sitting there thinking to myself as I'm playing, why am I even bothering playing this? And then other times I'm just like, my opponent has that one set D prison that really could have been like the difference between game and not. So I still like playing the MSTs and the Heavy Storm. It's really not that bad. One Book of Moon. I'm actually really loving Book of Moon right now. Monster Reborn and Darkhold, rounding up the spells. Now for the traps, with Worm King, I've got so much destruction power, so my traps are very basic. 3W Nebula Meteorite, the trump card of all the worms. You get insane pluses. I'm talking +3, +4 every time you use it, basically. I'm teching in one Alien Brain just because this is a fun card to use. It's helped me take control of Draco Sacks. It's helped me take control of all kinds of nasty things my opponent's thrown at me. So it's actually a very fun to use card, and it's never been dead for me because of all the reptiles he used. 2 Mirror Force, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, and finally 2 Torrential Tribute. That's the main deck. I will go over what I have of my extra deck right now. 2 King of the Feral Imps. You don't need 3. 3 is just because most of the time you're only going to use one of them, and that second one is actually really good too, but 3 is just a little too much. It would make the deck too fast as it is. So 2 is just perfect. Here's my favorite part of the deck right here. 2 Starliege Paludynamo. Almost all the monsters in here are level 4 lights, so I can easily abuse Starliege Paludynamo, and it's just such a cool card to use. I think it's such a great card, and if I have the opportunity to use it, then why not? Utopia and Utopia Ray. People don't use Utopia Ray as much as they used to, but recently he's been doing crazy good for me, just helping me come back from insane situations and getting me game, so I have no complaints. Papilloperative, Maestroke, Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller still comes in handy, and Shockmaster. Right now I just need to get a couple last minute things for the deck. I want to get a Steel Swarm Roach, a Cowboy, stuff like that. Daigusto Emerald, but right now I just don't have that kind of stuff. But it still works great, the deck. The deck is still very overwhelming. And now for the side deck very quickly. 2 Droll and Lock Birds because I hate Prophecy. 3rd Kage Takage because sometimes it really does come in handy. 1 Snowman Eater just because I love the card. 2 Valor just because it's still a fantastic card. Still stops a lot of decks right in their track. 2 Fossil Dyna. 2 Consecrated Light. This guy's like one of my favorite monsters right now. It ends Evil Swarm, Insectors, whatever you're having a problem with. 3rd MST and Forbidden Lands. And finally 2 Macrocosmos. But that's the deck right now, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'm loving Worms, this format. King of the Feral Imps did so much for the deck. Be sure to give me a comment down below, see if you like the deck or not. And if you have any questions, be sure to send me a message. And take it easy, guys.